serious now.
Thank you.
All right, is it gonna tell us?
You gotta wait for the
Listen up,
cue.
Tina?
Yes, it is.
You'll tell us, okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Start this meeting, we'll have flag salute. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Marion County Commission meeting, June 21st, 12:30 p.m. We're gonna start with public comments, and then we'll get into agenda approval after that, administrative business. Please limit the topics to the county commission business, and we'd like to see a name and maybe an address if you make a comment online or something, so we know who you are and where you live. Is there any out there that you see so far, Tina?
No, there's nothing in the chat bubble today.
Nothing in
so
the chat
far.
bubble today?
No.
Okay. We have no public unless the gentleman that just walked in wants to speak? Nope, okay. Well, okay, so we'll end that, and we'll go to the agenda approval, administrative business. Does anybody have any additions to the agenda that they'd like to add today? Brad? Okay.
Nothing today.
Nothing today?
Well, not at the moment.
Not at the moment, okay.
Okay.
All right, Tina, you got anything different?
Only if you add, there may need to be an executive session for the, like contract negotiation
Okay.
for the EMS land purchase.
No. Contract negotiation for land purchase?
That might be within EMS.
Yeah, we may do that, yeah, there, so.
I'm not sure
And
about
then
the
there might
contract
be a-
negotiation or not, but I
Another
think it would
executive
be,
case.
yeah.
So we may need that at that time, we can throw that there.
Is there another executive on the personnel there?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
under the
right.
appraiser's
Right
time.
here,
And
yeah.
then I do have one for administrative business for FMLA approval, and that may need to be at the end because I've got quite a bit of administrative today,
Okay.
so.
All right, we can do that then. Going to turn it over, with no additions to that, we'll approve the agenda and turn the administrative business over to you to start us off.
Okay. In your packet, I did include the public comment that was on the meeting last week.
Have a name or an address?
I have a name, no address, and I know that the commission directed me to add that information to our welcome sheet that we want a name and address for anyone who's commenting, so if we're gonna include that in the public record. And, you know, you all didn't take any action on that. I don't know if you wanna take a vote on that to have that as what your current policy is for the minutes, or if, I mean, I just went with your directive before, but.
I'm going to open this up to the commission. What do you folks like to see when somebody's making a comment?
If it's gonna be part of the public record, it needs to have an address.
Yeah.
You can't write a letter to the editor and have it printed without an address.
Correct. Correct.
And
If
we
you're
don't
making
necessarily need to include the address in the public comments in the
But at least need
record,
to
but.
confirm who the person is
Right.
making the comments.
Okay.
Randy, can I ask a question, or is this not open for public?
It's not open right now, I just closed it.
No, I'm sorry. Well,
But-
if I'd have known, if you'd have told me you're gonna talk about this, I'd have said something.
Okay.
I'm joking.
But we do have it at the end,
Okay.
and if any time you want to type something in, or if you was at home or something, you could do that, we would address it at the end.
Good.
And just make sure it's addressed, so.
Is it in regard to this or another?
Is this a comment from Brian Jones?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. I have some things to say about it.
Okay,
Well,
so,
if we need a policy, then I'd make a motion that we have a policy that any public comments going in the public record include name, address, phone number.
Second.
okay, I have a motion by David Mueller, referred to, go ahead, name, address, and phone number? If they
Yes.
don't have a phone number?
Yes,
you
that's
will
what we
accept
do,
that?
that's what we do at any public hearing.
Okay, all right. And second by Kent Becker. All those, any discussion by other commissioners?
Would you like that reduced to a written policy form that you?
Yes.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
But we can go ahead and take the, got the motion, go ahead and do that. Any other comments?
I think it's a good idea. It just shows what kind of stake they have, and whether they're live in Marion County or they're advising to Marion County.
Well, that brings up the only part that I questioned, and Tina and I had a discussion, we talked, was, at a public hearing, you can hear outside comments outside the county, but this is county business here. So if we have some people that don't live in our county want to discuss something here, how
Typically need to be on the agenda then.
how do you, that's what I'm saying, how do you want to address that?
Well, they can still make the comments.
Yeah.
Put their name and address and phone number.
Okay,
Then you know whether they're in county or out of county.
okay.
David, you oughta add to your motion that they need to be alive too. So. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. So, please no more outbursts. Well, what I'm getting at though
Sure.
is, do you want to listen to if it's all out of county? I mean, when we're taking care of county business?
That's the commission's decision.
That's what I'm saying.
We're here to hear comments, but I think if we hear comments, we need to know
Okay.
who's making them.
And we do want to
where they're
limit them, try to limit them 3 minutes to
Yep,
5.
yep.
And we don't know if they're a property owner in Marion County. If
Correct.
they give us a name, address, telephone number that's outside, they could
Correct.
still be, they
Yeah.
can still be a landowner, had a vacation or something.
Yeah, yeah, and I respect that too. There's a lot of out-of-county landowners that live here. I mean, don't live here and have land here, so.
And I'm not asking to deny any comments, I'm just saying, if they become part of the public record, they need to include the information.
Okay. Everybody understand what you're voting on? All righty, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Hope that gives you some guidance, Brad, to make some policy.
Yeah, maybe some notes will be fine.
Okay.
Okay. You had some information in your packet from Bryce, just some updates and some information there, because he will not be here today. Then I have the minutes of June 14th and the minutes of June 15th.
Motion to approve June 14th.
Second.
Have a motion by Jonah, a second by Dave to approve the minutes of June the 14th. All those in favor of that say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 15th.
Second.
Have a motion by Kent to approve the minutes of June 15th and second by Jonah. All those in favor of that say aye. Aye, 5-0.
Okay, there'll be a signature on both sides of that one.
Okay.
Just to follow up real quick, I didn't put anything in your packet about this, but you had a discussion last week about lights for the vehicle, for the emergency management vehicle, or for the emergency manager. And I just wanted to, we did go back and I found that you did by resolution designate that vehicle as an emergency response vehicle. So then you do need to make sure that we have the red and blue lights. So just wanted to follow up with you on that.
Okay, but there's one phrase in the Kansas statutes that needs to be addressed here. And anytime one of our vehicles, and that don't make no difference whether it's ambulance, police, fire, whatever it may be, running under red lights and blue lights, if they are above the speed limit and there's an accident and they are wrong, they somewhat do something wrong, the county is responsible. I mean, and it don't look good 20 miles an hour over going to a pasture fire and you're in an accident. So I still think there needs to be some sort of policy we need to come up with for this position.
Disciplinary action
Okay.
of some sort to, not only a reprimand, well, yeah, I mean, it just,
But what I'm saying, again, tomorrow, bell rings, pasture fire, we run out there at 25 miles an hour over the speed limit and hurt somebody. I just
Can
think
we legally circumvent a resolution on a case-by-case basis?
If we write the resolution correctly, gives you that opportunity.
I think we need to address the resolution then.
Well, I don't think that the resolution that you passed
Yeah.
prohibits you from creating a policy for response.
Right.
terms of
So we
protocol.
would just create a new resolution, and the old one would stand.
I don't know that you even need a resolution for it. You just,
This is protocol, more or less,
Yeah.
for this position.
Let me take a shot at the policy and give it to him,
Okay.
see if that works.
Yeah, bring us something that we can see that, but look at that statue that's.
Yeah, I know what you're
very-
talking about.
You know which one I'm talking about. It's bottom line,
Mhm.
anybody running red lights and siren, if they mess up, it's the governing body or owner of that, whoever it is, responsibility.
Also requires it to be a legitimate emergency.
It also requires to be a legit emergency, so.
Have issues.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's what's happening in our cities around us, when you hear of all these police vehicles responding, some with lights, without lights, and they're getting in these accidents, and we just don't need it out here in Marion County, as far as I'm concerned, so. Okay, Tina, thank you for that.
okay, you have, in your packet, you had the solid waste fee resolution for 2021, which this is for this assessment fee for 2022. For 2021 taxes, which funds the 2022 budget, to clarify that.
Does anybody know, I guess I have an ex-city commissioner sitting beside me here from Hillsborough, it used to be that they would allow their city trash trucks to be filled up over the weekend or something. Is that still probably not, since they've got the one armband, they're probably not in Hillsborough.
No, and the dumpsters at the ready everywhere, and then recycling underneath the water tower. Yeah, I suppose they could dump, but I mean,
There for a while, they was allowing some, either trucks or something, I don't remember, to tear, whatever they was doing, but, I don't know whether Marion's doing anything like that or not with their,
I think it's kind of an unwritten rule. The trash truck is sitting down at the city shop, and people throw trash in the back of it,
okay?
but nobody cycles it or anything, so if it gets full, I don't know what happens. But some people do go down there,
that wouldn't happen in Hillsborough, it's only locked up in the weekend. So.
but usually people use the dumpsters behind businesses.
Well, these rules were written 20-some years ago, and today's bodies of city managers and things like that, I don't know if they've ever seen what we go by to pay for the trash, for the transfer stations, you know, to pay for that stuff, so.
The city managers don't have a copy of this.
Well, I don't know, have they requested lately that you know of, Tina? There's never been no discussion,
Well, I mean,
that's what I'm raising.
Maybe not in the past few years, but I
Yeah.
wonder if they don't have them on file.
I would think they do, I mean,
The reason why I'm saying this is because we're responsible to pay for this thing, and I'm just wanting to make sure that everybody's knows that, well, you know, how many dumpsters is coming out of businesses, that's how you charge in this thing for transfer station.
If you look at section 3,
Section 3.
it says the county sanitarian who is.
Yes.
Who's designated as county sanitarian, Tina?
well, that generally falls now under Sharon.
That's what I thought,
Yeah.
but I mean, that's kind of an old term, because at one time Marion County did have a county sanitarian, but it's been, what, 25 years?
But that job was all
Well-
tied with that at that time, and so now it's a different person, which is Sharon, and so I don't know what kind of time frame she's spending. to
Yeah, it
even
just
look at
says
this,
it's
you know.
hereby authorized to determine the number of units of solid waste each business generates above the 1 unit
Yeah.
minimum.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I just like our cities to know that we do this, we need to look at this kind of stuff so we can pay for this thing, because it's
The
a.
cities
deal.
should have that information.
They're aware of it, because, I mean, they fall under it.
Yeah,
And
charge the business
we
for it.
also send out the rate sheet, we send out the information on the solid waste in every tax statement that goes out,
yes.
so.
Okay. Just so it's here to renew right now, that if there's any changes, this is the time to do it.
Going through the budget the other day, the income versus expense on the transfer station was a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit upside down, so now would be the time to address that.
It's just something to look at, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know that we've ever changed too much. We did the residential, but we haven't.
Yeah, we've gone up from 100. That's what it was when I started.
81, wasn't it, to 100?
Yes.
And I don't know what numbers would rectify. That's my problem. I don't know what, you know, you factor in paying for the facility and all those things and try to make it self-sufficient operation over there.
Yeah.
And it's taking money from other places in order to, until the building's paid for.
Yeah.
Do we have time to address that under budget recommendation? How quick does this have to be?
Well, we do need to have this resolution adopted by July 1st. Here's one thing, Commissioner Gearing, that about the last year's on the way that, I mean, we had built up some funds within the transfer station line item to be able to pay for the building or to pay towards the building costs. And so that's one reason, you know, we built a building last year. That's one reason you're seeing more expenses. That's not their regular operating expense.
Right. So we're just
And
trying
over
to
the
cover
last,
regular.
right, I mean, we'll cover the building payments as well now because we did a lease purchase for a portion of that, for the majority of it. But you might remember that we did a lease purchase, but we still had contingency funds for building that came out of the transfer station fund itself. And we intentionally utilized some funding that had been built up over time for that. And so I think this year you're probably okay. I mean, we can look at that. I mean, obviously, if you address it when Scott's here tomorrow, you know, we could maybe do something before the end of the month if you want to change this. But you just raised your fee recently.
2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago for residential. I think it's I don't want to just go at it haphazardly. I'd really like to look at everything to see what the total line is coming out at, how we're charging people, and that means go back to your taxes, that's where it comes from, see what taxes are charged against what business and stuff like that. So I think we're okay, but I'm just raising a red flag to say we need to look at it sometime. Because I know the commercial hasn't been changed for a long time.
I know at this point I wouldn't be in favor of raising it just for the fact that we have a lot of residents in Marion County that never use the transfer station. They're paying monthly for,
I think
and that trash does not come to our transfer station.
the residential, yes, but I'm saying this commercial side, that was really good. The rest of the dumpsters, things like that,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Okay, and so we could do that this year, and I think we'll be sufficient to get along, but it's just something that I'd really like to take a look at in our funding, so. Do we need a motion again?
Well, to adopt the resolution, which would be 2021-13.
You got that on your number? Yeah, yeah. Okay. I'd make the motion to adopt resolution 2021-13, a resolution establishing a service fee for 2022's.
It's for 2021 taxes, which funds the
2021 taxes for solid waste facilities, assessing the fee on real property and establishing the manner of collection of the solid waste fee. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Kent Becker. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. 5-0.
One other way that you can raise revenue there, if it becomes necessary, is you can look at, you know, what you're charging for tires, what you're charging for C&D, what you're charging for other types of things that are an additional fee beyond the solid waste assessment fee. And
That's what I say. I don't want to just go into that without really looking at everything. I mean, it may take some time. Back page, all 5 of us.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
in the interest of keeping on schedule, could we move the rest of the administrative items to following the appraiser personnel hiring item?
You still got a lot, you said that?
I do have quite a bit today, yes.
Okay. All righty, it is 12:50. Does the rest of the commission feel that way too, to go ahead and do that?
I'm agreeing.
Okay. Yeah, I have no problem with that, staying on time, get this under control here, and something works back. So we're gonna move to Expedition Wind Planning and Zoning, and Sharon Olmsted's here. Where'd I see her? She's back there somewhere. I will say that under Sharon, there'll be no public comment probably right now. This is under Sharon, and there is no, the public comment will be at the end of the meeting.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I have been informed from NRS, which is Jesse Hopkins Hool, Pat Pelstring, Lindsay Ransom, their team, that the Expedition Wind project has been acquired by Ørsted Onshore North America. And so their team is here to make an introduction and just give you a brief overview of Ørsted and what we have going on right now with the Expedition Wind project. So with that, I'd like to introduce our commissioners. Our chairman is Randy Dalkey, down there on the end. Jonah Gearing. Sorry. Kent Becker, Dave Crowfoot, and David Mueller. I was gonna try to announce which districts they're with. It threw me for a loop, so I decided just to go with names. And then with that, I'll hand it over to Jonathan. Jonathan and Claire and DJ and Jake are all with Ørsted.
Jesse's here too.
And Jesse
Yeah.
with NRS is president. Thank you. So, the microphone.
Thanks, Sharon.
Will pick up.
Thank you, Sharon, again, and commissioners, thank you, and Marion County, thanks for having us. Just want to keep it brief and give an introduction to you all about who Ørsted is. Ørsted is a global company that develops, constructs, and is the long-term operator of renewable energy projects. In the United States alone, we have 4 gigawatts of onshore wind, solar, and energy storage projects, either in operation or under construction. And we are now the proud new owners of the Expedition Wind project, and we're extremely excited to work with the county, the landowners, and the community to move the project forward and have it ultimately a successful project here in Marion County. So thanks for having us, and we're very excited to be here in the community and look forward to moving the project forward and eventually putting some steel in the ground. Do you guys want to have any questions for me? I can take a few questions.
Is any of the others gonna speak, or are they just?
No, so I brought my team, DJ Work, and Claire. DJ's gonna be the lead project developer on this project. So he'll be doing a lot of the day-to-day interfacing with landowners and other community stakeholders. Claire will be supporting our efforts with the project, and Jake is here with us. He's the project manager, so once we hand the baton of development over to our construction team, he will be on site, I think, a good part of the time, and managing our construction process and making sure everybody is doing their job and getting the project built right on schedule, hopefully. So I think we're a little bit away from that, but we're moving forward to try to assess when we'd have a viable schedule for the project.
So you don't really have a timeline yet?
We just recently bought the project on May 25th. So before then, we weren't able to really work with any vendors, of course. So right now, we're really starting to ramp those efforts up, and I don't have, unfortunately, the information right now on timeline, but hopefully in the future, when we do have it, we'll let you guys know.
Cool.
So, thank you.
Well, I'd just like to say it's been good working with the people that you bought it from, and we want to experience the same kind of thing with you too. I mean, it's a good project. I've been on the commission for quite a few years, and I've been involved when it was started, not this project, but just the outlay through planning and zoning, and seeing it go through planning and zoning to get to this point. And we had a local doing it for quite a bit, and then we went to Expedition, and so now we've got another. And then we had one come in from the north, and they come in and build a nice wind farm up there too. So it's been a long time coming, And down here, I think the landowners are anxious to meet you guys and see what's going on down here too.
We just had some landowners at the Elgin. We had
Oh,
offered
okay.
a meet and greet, and
Okay. Cool.
I know it's busy with harvest
Cool.
right now, but we hope to have more regular meetings with them too and provide updates when we are able.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're informed and keep them happy, that's where the whole goal is. to
Yep.
keep, you know, do what the project's supposed to do with them too.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have any comments they care to say?
Are you gonna open up an office in Marion?
We're evaluating that, so yeah, I think too early to say right now, but we'll definitely keep you guys apprised of what we decide.
No commitments right now.
Not that I can make.
We all have a boss, don't we?
That's everybody's question is when.
Yeah, I understand, yeah.
Well, thank you all for coming then, and appreciate you coming and with Sharon. Sharon, do you have something else to do?
Jonathan, will you have a way that citizens can contact your office to answer questions or?
Yes, so we will be providing that information. We're getting a website set up. So we'll have contact information posted there. As soon as we know, we can let your office know or post it somewhere where the public can come see it and make sure that it's well circulated, so that way if there are any concerns in the community, there's a way to contact us and so we can address them appropriately.
Cool.
Great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Appreciate it.
And we look forward to working with everybody here, so thank you guys.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't forget where we're at.
I just want to say thank you, if I may. On behalf of NRS, I have fond memories with this room and y'all. So really excited to move gotten to this point and got the right people. So very capable, very talented. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Sharon, are you done? You have anything else?
Nice meeting everybody, thank you. Take care.
Do you want an
Do you have any
update on
personal
the-
business right now?
Just the update on the planning commission meeting, do you need that?
If you have it ready, I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I
Give us an update.
Sure. I just wanted to let you know that the planning commission met on May 27th, I believe was that Thursday, and began discussions concerning solar energy regulations, and they would like for us to come up with some draft language to bring back to the planning commission. There will be no decisions made at the July meeting, it will just be for discussion only with the board. And then the public hearing will be noticed, and then it will be open to public comment after that.
Yeah, just so people understand, the planning commission needs to come up with a draft and a proposal. Once they come up with a proposal, then it's open for public comment.
Right, yes.
Now we're getting that template. I haven't talked to you about that, so I was just curious.
When?
On the solar energy, all the regulatory stuff, is that, we have a source for that?
We're just looking at some other local regulations within the state, and then maybe our planning consultant has some familiarity with solar regulations, he'll probably bring a draft.
I know everybody travels, but I've seen, been doing a little traveling. These solar little farms, I haven't seen a great big farm show up real close to us, but there's a lot of little ones showing up around, everywhere around us, so. And I'd say they're big enough to be somewhat commercial. I don't think they're all residential that I'm seeing.
Yeah, a residential solar system would be more something that's mounted on the side of a rooftop on a house, where these commercial,
Freestanding.
those projects typically take several acres of land,
Yeah.
so.
Flying west last week, I was looking out the window, I noticed several of them. Not sure which state it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Between here and there.
Well, I think it's something too, that, I mean, you don't realize till you pass it where it can be by your own personal property and stuff like that, so it is a concern that they are different than just a single tower. They look different, so.
And the planning commission also began discussion on the confined animal feeding operations and how the county wishes to regulate or not regulate those locally. So those discussions are still continued to the next meeting as well.
Any other questions by the commission?
Since you're looking at solar, you might want to look into antenna technology. It's a combination of solar and thermal radial heat, so it can produce it day and night.
Okay.
It's-
And battery
it's hiding
storage
in
was also.
It's hiding in the wings. It's coming.
Sure. Battery storage was also brought up. Just all kinds of different alternative energies are out there right now.
Very true.
Any other questions for me?
I don't have any.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, go back to you, Tina. Finish your business.
Okay. In your packet, you had in a contract approval. You know, Bryce was talking about that, the emergency culvert replacement on Nighthawk and 290th. And the bid, actually, the low bid was $222,617.
Okay, let's talk about that. I was thinking it was up on, well, 290th, okay. That is.
It's on 290,
Yeah.
near,
Right,
Yeah,
out there.
yeah, Nighthawk's real close there,
it's
yes.
west, it's on 290.
Yeah, but is that where the water went over and washed the blacktop?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and this invoice here will also need to be approved, so, but I did want to mention, so the amount that the county's portion is 60,000. The amount when you initially approved, we thought our portion was gonna be about 30,000. They also pay for a portion of the engineering, so we pay the engineering out of pocket and then we receive reimbursements. So, just want to let you know that this is a little bit more expensive than what you initially planned, but you did give an approval previously, so I think that what needs to happen is that you would need to approve the bid for that, and then also approve the payment of this invoice.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the bid amount of $222,617 to Ebert Construction Company, Inc., and subsidiary, with the county portion not to exceed $60,000.
Second.
I have a second by Dave Mueller. Motion by Jonah Gearing. All those in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Can we go ahead and get approval to pay this invoice? We have to pay the invoice up front.
Was there a start date on that? It's like this fall, I think. I don't think they
Yeah.
put a specific date in there. Was that normal? Paying that invoice up front?
Yes.
I don't know where I saw it.
So, the invoice in the amount of $60,000 equal.
Yeah. That goes to the state.
Yeah, this is all through KDOT.
Okay.
So we pay it to them.
We pay it to them. Don't go direct to the contractor. It goes
Right.
direct to state.
Right.
Does that ease your mind, son?
I just, you know,
Rather do
we're
it with
we're
contract.
paying this and then next year at this time, wait a minute, it's not done.
Yeah.
I don't wanna see that.
I would move to pay the invoice to KDOT in the amount of $60,000.
Second.
I have a motion by Dave Mueller to pay KDOT that $60,000 invoice with a second by Jonah Gearing. All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, and this one, they only put the 3 lines, but if you all could sign it.
Is there any chance of insurance, FEMA, or something that help cover that 60?
Well, it would be in the FEMA claim. Was that 2019 damage or this year's?
It's 2019.
We got a new one.
So it would have been under
Good job.
The one that we,
Application.
that big question mark on.
It's submitted.
Doesn't know if I had too much money to approve that.
Uh,
Yeah, I
looked
say
at
it's
that.
still semi-straight.
Yeah, if it's,
Yeah, it's going out good.
Yeah, if it's going like this, we don't even.
Yeah, I got too many.
Yeah. I don't even see it. Where is it? Must be in the back.
It's after we left. Okay. Already had my fill.
I used to, yeah, one of those, paper just like that. Yeah. I haven't touched that stuff. Over here.
Little energy.
Yeah.
Watch your teeth.
I was just saying, so
Walls.
big
It's
this
been on it for a long
Had to restart that.
time. We better start him off with a little.
Little one, yeah.
Baby can.
Yeah.
You know how much it's,
Okay, in your packet, you had the first progress billing for the EMS station. And so we need approval of this in the amount of $37,584 to Nelson Falls.
That's just the building package, right? Travis?
Yes, I believe that'd be the building package minus.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Minus retainage.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has the detail in there. So it's the,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I see it. Make a motion to approve the amount of $37,584.
I have a motion by Jonah to pay $37,584 to this is the, towards the building in Hillsborough ambulance. Do I hear a second for this? Second by Dave Mueller. All those any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
okay. Just to let you know, we received no bids for the contract hauling for the transfer station. The next thing that I had on my list was, in the past, the county has used transient guest tax funds to pay a portion of or the entire amount of listings for the Kansas Travel Guide, which is put out by the Kansas Department of Wildlife Parks and Tourism. Well, I found out that Friday was the deadline to have that information entered. And of course, Marion and Hillsborough, they will do their own, but we didn't have notification. I didn't have anybody watching tourism things for this. And generally we knew the early date was May 31st because Randy Collett told us that last week of May, but we didn't know when the final date was. So I did contact the agency that's in charge of this publication. I have requested an extension for at least a week. If they will grant that, I just wanted to know if the commission is interested in paying those listings for attractions and businesses within Marion County outside of the communities that have their own economic development director. What we would do would be probably just contact the ones that were in last year and update. I think that's the limit of what we're gonna be able to accomplish within a week.
That was my concern, even if the ones that we did last year, if they're still in business.
Right, and so we could just contact them, make sure they still wanna be in it, make sure all the information we have is still good. And then, if the board wants to pay for those listings, we have $66,000 in that transient guest tax fund, which could be utilized for it. I think each ad is $90.
You know what the total was last year?
I don't remember, but it wasn't a huge
but we
amount.
had people in Marion that paid too. We won't have that this year.
That's right.
I don't see any reason why we can't. If all that happens that you said, the extension plus calling them and verifying that they're still in business, why? I'd make that motion to approve payment if all of that happens. Tina?
So I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion that if the, I don't know if it's a state fund, state. gives you
It's the,
extension.
basically, it is
Okay.
the state.
State gives you extension for the wallet, the travel guide. If that happens and you contact the people, we have a motion to go ahead and pay for the people to be, for the bids, for the ads to be put in, be paid by Marion County out of the transient gas tax. All those in favor of that? Wait, do I hear a second?
Second.
Dave and Crowfoot, all those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Sorry to put that on you, Tina, but thank you.
Well-
Appreciate that.
Yeah, like I said, that really doesn't fall to our office, but,
Right.
you know, when you see that publication, a lot of people look at that
Yes.
when they're doing their planning, and I don't want Marion County to be left out. Um,
On behalf of the smaller communities, appreciate it.
We got lots of stuff out in the county.
All around the county.
Well, they put them in all those travel stations on the interstates
Yep.
and stuff.
All right, well, we'll see what
Appreciate
we
it.
can get done. Hopefully, we'll be able to do it.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I wanted to follow up on what you discussed last week, was that easement for Evergy. We
Yeah.
didn't take any action because we had some questions.
Well, we had
so-
it okay to go ahead and do it, send it, the lady got hold of me Thursday evening or Friday, one of the two. And it's just a matter of them getting an easement to come into the Marion substation over there on the backside of it, so what it looked like coming in. And that's all it's about. They just wanna have formal, in case something happens later down the line, that they know they've got an easement to stay in.
So it's access? It's
Access,
just access.
access, yes.
Right. Okay. Very good.
Put a pole in or something like that.
Uh,
So,
and
I
then-
okayed it to go ahead and send it, but I signed it last week. I didn't
I don't,
sign it.
no, I believe so.
Okay.
We left it up to you.
You were
Bring back to
And
the
then I
board
never-
if you didn't think it
Yeah.
was.
But I would make a formal motion to accept the easement.
Okay. We have a formal motion by Dave Mueller, second by Kent, to go ahead and accept the Evergy easement for the Marion Transfer Station. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Okay, so will they file something then with the register of deeds?
I think
or-
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me find that paperwork.
I'll sign it after the meeting if we have to.
I know I have it with me,
Okay.
I just don't have it in order here.
Yes.
Contact person, that's what we need to put in there, should we just do that through our office, do you think?
I think so. I was just trying to say people be notified otherwise. Best logical.
And then we can pass it on to whatever department
Yeah,
needs to
I think that's
oversee
probably
that.
gonna be the cleanest, because you serve as a clearinghouse.
Okay, so the other part of that was also, I mean, it was part of the information I gave you before, that's just the construction condition.
Oh.
We'll put the county clerk's office as the first, that's the two that you notify.
Trying to be clever.
No.
Okay, you had asked us to go back and try to get more apples to apples or complete bids on the flagpole. We were only able to get that from 2 companies. And so that was in your packet. We had Heartland, which was one of the, and then Banner Marketing. And that's the one from, I believe, Oregon, and we would use, we would have to have a separate company install. So he did send us that information of the cost. And that would be for the new pole set up for 2 flags. That would be for installation and then removal. So if you look at the Heartland bid, the removal is $1,000 extra. So you would need to, we would need to.
So it'd be another 1,000 on top of
No,
that?
the underlying number is the total,
So
including the removal.
That's a 40-foot pole?
That is a 40-foot pole. We didn't go ahead and bid anything else on a
Okay.
45.
Okay.
And what's out there now? 40 foot?
Well, right now it's 44 feet.
Okay.
It used to be
Same
like
thing.
60
a 40,
feet.
a 45 would only be, right, would only be $700 more?
Yep.
Less than 6 something?
Yes.
10,000.
These prices seem awfully high to me. If I go out and look, well, I just looked at one a little bit ago, 40 foot, commercial grade, internal, whatever that is, 100 mile an hour, $2,650. So, you add another even 1,500 on, and way under that. And, it was one that had the reviews, you see, commercial grade.
When we talked about removal, was the county interested in doing the removal ourselves or?
I don't know. Is the county interested in doing the removal ourselves?
Just take a backhoe, a few minutes, I think, pull it out.
Well, I'm just looking at a road situation around the county.
Well,
Well,
that's
that's
my
just it.
side.
I
I don't want
don't
to take crews
I
out.
don't want to take any crews off of anything because it's just so
Well,
crazy right now.
If the commission wants to, research this individually and bring something else back, that's
I'm ready
fine.
to make a decision. Jonah, do you think it's worth it for the extra 5 foot for 45?
I think it's worth it.
Trees trees gonna cover it up in another 3 or 4 years.
But that's really up to Tina because she pays attention to it. It might
Here's
cause
the-
more issues.
Here's the other thing. I just want to, it's in here. So if you decide to just repair, the high bid we had on that was $1,600 to repair the current pole, so. It's a matter of what you want to do.
By repair, what would that entail?
It would basically be doing a new pulley system. It'd still be exterior pulley. They put a new ball on it. They'd come and hook that all up for us.
And then you still have to repaint it every so many
That's
years.
true.
Yeah.
Right.
I would make the motion to move forward with Heartland on a 45-foot pole. Check my math, but I believe it comes up $10,150. They do the installation, removal, turnkey project.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to go with Heartland Flagpole Company, or Heartland Company, to install a 45-foot stainless steel pole with the ball top or internal,
It's got the internal stainless steel cable.
yeah, internal stainless steel cable. For a total of $10,150, but do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a second by Jonah. Discussion, I will have to agree with you, Ken. I want one of these so bad in my own personal property. but I'm not going to spend $10,000 to put it on my personal property. And I, you know, I saw what's over here, how these was put up. I'd almost, but I know I couldn't handle a 45 footer. I mean, I couldn't put it up. I mean, I'd have to have a truck or something to do that. I know I couldn't, and I don't want a 45 at my house, but anyway, it does seem like a lot.
We're just looking at best use of funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say shorter ones are a lot less expensive. Were you looking, when you looked, were you looking at a 40 footer on your research?
40 footer.
Okay.
They have 30 footers, 25s.
The other thing about when we went out and looked at it, you get lower, you get in the trees. At the 45 foot, your flag is out of the trees. You come down and then you're getting tangled up, you lose. A lot of it is the perspective. We want to keep the flag at respectable high elevation. And that's what, after looking at it, I'm convinced 45 foot is the appropriate height.
So you're winning me over. Dave Crowfoot, you got any comments? Okay.
Okay, I wouldn't look too,
Okay, all right.
bigger's better.
Okay. We have motion on the floor for that $10,150 for 45 footer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against say aye.
Aye.
Aye, against.
Okay.
4-1.
Thank you. And then the only other thing I had was that executive session for leave requests, and we can do that at the end if that's easier for the board.
We'll do that. It's a qualified individual.
There's some things that we need to discuss on this.
Okay.
Okay, so you're done, Tina, for right now?
Yes.
Got that, that. It's 120. Emergency management, Randy Frank?
He was out there.
He is, he's right there, Randy. Randy? We're ready.
Oh.
Didn't hear you.
Yeah, that's why I was,
drop off a bill.
I was picking up a little bit.
It just started saying emergency manager, and it looked like you're like headed out.
Drop off my quill bill. I don't like this time. We're discussing other things. Last week, I brought up that we were looking at buying some radios. Here's the two quotes that the other one finally came through. One was with TBS, and the other is a group out of Wichita. TBS's quote is $28,497, and the other group out of Wichita is $29,374 for the equipment. And we're purchasing them out of the CESF grant to close out the grant.
Grant has how much? How much is in the grant?
How much you have left in the grant?
28,500 and something. It'll take just about everything that's left in the grant. We've been buying PPE all along with this same grant, and we also purchased the equipment that helped with the off-site server. We purchased that equipment too with this same grant, and looking to purchase these radios as well. These radios have the additional hardware and software in it, so that they're in complete compliance with the state's template of all their top groups. So that way, if not on wood, this is real wood. If we have a very large thing, we got to talk to the state. They'll be on their top groups, and we'll be able to talk to them.
We've not had this potential before with what the equipment we have.
We have, but the state's created a new talk group just before COVID started, and in that new talk group, it has encrypted sites and encrypted channels, for better terminology, that we didn't purchase when we bought the first radios, because that wasn't out yet. Now the encrypted sites or the encrypted talk groups are out, and these radios will cover that.
Who gets these radios?
The sheriff's department, and two of them will be in my department.
Randy, could this grant been used for, we have a problem up north and with reception and stuff up there, and there's some ideas that they want up there. Could we use this money for that too?
There's not enough money for that project. That's probably close to $1 million project they're looking at.
28,000 wouldn't touch it.
Okay.
Do the dirt work.
No, I don't think it is.
I'm not even sure we can pay an engineer to come look at it, that kind of money.
Okay, I didn't know whether any of this money was available for that, I mean, could be used for that or not, that's why I was asking.
Is that 28?
Do you have
Yes.
both the bids there?
$28,497 is the bid that you have here right on this.
TBS bid,
That's
yes,
the
sir.
second one down.
That's
That's the first bid from CBS. The second one is from $29,374.80. And that's from who?
I'm trying to see what her name is.
Johnson County?
No, Johnson County is the contract that they're using.
Okay.
There are a couple of contracts in Kansas.
Clark County Emergency Services?
Yeah, she thinks we're in Clark County. I told her we weren't in Clark
Okay.
County.
Okay.
But anyhow, I'll look up the name for you and get it to you. She can put it on her quotes.
Do we have any other discussion?
That's all I have for you.
Okay.
I would move to accept the bid from TBS for the radios at $28,497. $497. Thank you, John.
Then we have a motion by
Yes.
Dave Mueller. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jonah Gehring to approve the $28,497 to buy 13 radios. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Kent, did I hear you?
Yes, aye.
Okay, ayes, 5-0.
Thank you.
I guess I don't have a question.
Okay. County traders, Travis, what do you, how long you got, Travis? You got a little while, don't you?
I got a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's probably got
Probably got an executive type of thing too, it could be. Call Janine.
I can see if she's ready.
Then we'll get to the, maybe how the executive.
How's Lloyd doing?
Upright standard.
Another good day.
I just got a couple of questions I'd like to ask.
We've got EMS, Janine, we've got 3 more business deals here to,
No
if we
problem.
can. And we'll get to the public comments before we go into
That's
executive
fine.
session.
That's fine.
Okay, Janine is not here today, so
Okay.
we need to just take her off.
Okay.
Moving right ahead.
Travis Cartland.
Get you guys out of here early.
Look at that.
I gotta be in Newton for a meeting, 4 o'clock.
I have a meeting with the Secretary of State at 3:30 too.
Okay, so keep this moving.
He'll wait for you.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
We're turning earlier today.
One for everybody, right?
I believe that to be correct.
Oops, what's this?
Oh, that's not intended to be sent around yet. Sorry.
This next meeting.
Well, I don't know. Wait a minute. I say yet. It wasn't intended to be sent out at all. Just in my packet. Okay.
We're a little early, gentlemen, but let's see, Treasurer Janine's not gonna be here, so we mark them off and move it up to Travis.
Alright, so, quarterly report on runs. March we had 99. April, or, I'm sorry, yeah, April we had 99 and May we had 93. I believe you can compare 2021 to 2020 and see that we are down a little bit. I'm sorry, it was
It's
in
on
the
here.
packet
It's
and up
good.
there. Yeah, so we are down a little bit, but like I said, that's being seen across the state and across the nation as well. Just call volume. Hopefully we can say post-COVID. So everything's kind of staying in line as far as types of calls. It's just the volume's falling off a little bit. So the other thing I kind of alluded to during budget time was our current charges, what's being paid by Medicare, and if we look at what other services are doing around us. We're looking at basically we're right in line with a lot of them on base charges for non-emergent, and base charges for ALS as well. When we get into the emergent, we're a little bit behind, and I'm going to throw out to commission that this is a number we can change if the commission chooses to do so. I think with the decrease in volume, I don't think it would be out of line to get closer to where everybody else is at.
Can you explain the ALS emergent?
Yeah, ALS, there's ALS non-emergent, which is we send a paramedic on there, but they're not using any medications, anything of that nature. They have the potential if they need to, they're available on the transport. Emergent, they're giving at least one med, and then ALS 2, they're giving 2 or more medications during the transport.
Which,
And
that could be,
And with that, I guess I should explain that a little better. When we're given a medication, when we bill Medicare or an insurance company, it's an inclusive bill. We don't add the price of medications. So that's why those cost more, is to help offset the expense of the medications. We don't itemize the bill. It's a lump sum bill.
So you don't know if you're given a $5 medication or a
I do.
500.
Oh, I do in most.
I mean, you do, but
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the billing goes.
Correct.
Doesn't seem quite right.
yeah, don't.
It's, well, and really, if you look at it, that's what Medicare does. They say, here's the number we're gonna pay, we don't care if you gave the $500 med. So,
Well, it looks like we're 100 behind on the 50 ALS 2, the AO 43 on there, and 50 on the emergent.
and then our mileage, we're $12 a loaded mile, everybody else is 13 to 23, so we would propose $15 a loaded mile.
Well, that's where your expense is going down the road. I mean, you gotta pay for that ambulance.
Correct.
So you're asking to bring those 3 into line?
Correct. It would be an increase to BLS emergent of $50 a call, an increase for ALS emergent at $50 a call, and
Well, that'd be
ALS
$100.
2. No, on ALS emergent, it's from $650 to $700.
Oh, I was looking at the.
And then ALS 2 is $750 to $850.
And then the mileage.
And then the mileage. And basically at that point, we're in line
With surrounding and everything.
pretty much, yeah. We're right the same as those other services.
Still not as high as some
Right.
person.
Is nobody ever asked what the cost is before they call for the ambulance?
Well, the only time anybody asks is a return trip or to bring
Oh.
somebody back
Okay.
from Wichita, things of that nature.
Okay.
They ask, a lot of times those are non-emergent. Obviously, we're bringing them home. a swing bed, something like that.
So we go back to the base charge then,
Yeah.
on the return trip.
And that's not changing. So-
Correct,
450 plus mileage.
right.
Yeah, mileage. So that's your proposal?
Yeah,
That is my proposal.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve Travis's proposal.
Have a motion by Jonah to increase the base charge, BLS emergent $50, base charge ALS emergent $50, base charge ALS 2 $100 from $750 to $850, and then mileage raise it from 12 to 15. Do I hear a second? Second by David Mueller.
Just a question.
Yes.
Do you think that's gonna affect our charge-offs anymore? It's probably pretty hard answer to our.
It is, that's a hard question. Obviously, your insurance, your Medicare, they're set at a rate. If you have a supplemental, I don't see there being a problem with the write-offs. It's the uninsured or underinsured that, but again, we're friendly with them. We take monthly payments. We don't charge interest. We try and work with people. So I think we can continue to do that. I don't see a problem.
With that being said, an ambulance run, and I guess I can go back and see some of the billing somewhere, but what is a normal bill for somebody going out and picked up maybe 15 miles out in the country and picking them up to bring them back to the hospital in a town?
That varies, Randy.
I understand
It
that.
depends on what we're doing,
Yeah.
how sick they are. If they hit that ALS too, then obviously we're gonna be at $850 plus mileage. So where it adds up is transfers. When we have an ALS transfer, we're running medication on the way to Wichita. Those get pretty expensive. They're nowhere near as expensive as a helicopter or an airplane, but it does add up.
Something that I don't see is, out of all the times you're called out, how many refusals? Is that, you got refusals on there?
I thought so, maybe I'm wrong. I was wrong on other times. That'd be the no transports.
No transports? Okay. I know we always seem to have that problem sometimes on scene, with some patients.
Well, and we do have, and the commission, it was this way when I got here, and it was at my former employer too. If we come out to your house and give you medication, there aren't very many of them that we don't transport you on. A diabetic is one that you wouldn't, but then we bill that patient directly. Insurance won't pay it, and they have to be made aware of that. So as far as falls, picking them up, that kind of thing, until it becomes a nuisance, then we have avenues to deter that as well.
So you're saying insurance, if they're diabetic, if they stay on the premises, you give them a shot?
They receive a bill from us to pay for that medication.
Because insurance
Because
will pay
insurance
for it.
will not pay,
But
because
if
if they were transported,
transported to the
insurance would
hospital.
pay. Correct.
Okay.
And I think that may be changed in the future with some community paramedicine and stuff, but we're not there.
We still have a motion on the floor, correct?
And a second.
And a second. Any other questions? With that being said, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0.
Well, and since Commissioner Becker brought it up, it's time for quarterly write-offs.
Way you go.
And again, you can look through,
How old they are?
well, yeah. And we're still getting some back from Omni, and then they're that old, so, it's a total of $15,288.44. Now, do note, when we get into our, the financial report next, you guys write them off, we stock, well, maybe I shouldn't say that out loud. We're not trying as actively, we're not spending as much in the mailroom to try and collect this, but they do go on state set off. So
Sure.
in the financial report, you'll see that that money is still eligible to come back in. We don't forget about it altogether. We just stop spending money chasing it, if you will, so.
That being said, I'll make a motion to charge off $15,288.44.
I have a motion by Kent Becker to write off $15,288.44. I'll make the second on that one. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
All right. And then, this last quarter, we have, received $197,177.71, payment on our account. The write-off adjustment, again, that's through set off and ways of getting that back in, $3,143.43. And we still have a balance to collect of $193,863.82. So that's kind of where we're at on that, which is pretty much where we normally are. Slight reduction, I think, again, call volume, so. And that is that report. I received information on the Zoll monitors we've been talking about. Came in at 104,000. We're actively working to get that under 100,000 now, seeing if we can tweak some parameters on the machines, things that we do or do not need. I'm actively working. I'd like to have information for you maybe as quick as next week, if we can get that worked out and start moving forward with that. The mandate is by December 31st, we're not supposed to be using those per FDA. We need to get the ball rolling on that. So, I'm confident we can find funding within the budget. However, it may not all be under capital outlay. I believe we'd spent some out of there, and we had budgeted 100,000. I believe we'd spent 12,000 out of there. I think through commodity or somewhere, I can make that difference up and get those ordered. So
Is that for one?
that is for 3.
So that's for 3?
Yes, sir.
So I was thinking,
Yeah. So, like I said, hopefully I can get that brought back to you guys as early as next week. And then the discussion I brought up about now awarding us a grant for $7,700 for AEDs, things for our volunteer, more rural people. I think, Brad, do we need to talk about that executive?
I think so, based
Okay.
on what I anticipate you're gonna do, yes.
Okay, so, and then building wise, do we need to talk about that executive?
At this point, no, I
Okay.
don't think so. Well, unless it involves still additional discussion about contract negotiations, then perhaps yes. If it's, because in terms of acquisition and those things, we're past that point.
Okay.
So then I wouldn't have any necessity to see any reason to do that. The only thing is if there's something that strategically we need to discuss in terms of the contract for construction or anything else.
Okay.
I know, it's a tough one.
That's a sticky wicket.
What'd you say?
I think, do we just start and then if I overstep bounds, then you stop me, or how do we?
I think it would be better if you did it in executive and then come out and.
Yeah, if we go in, it's gonna have to, I'm gonna be listening for
Sure.
our purpose, and to stop you, I'll stop you there and take us right back out
Okay.
again if I don't find anything that's gonna meet that standard.
contract negotiations would be, as if I see something on there that I didn't agree with, that would be under contract negotiations, correct?
Yeah, because if you're looking to give further direction to staff to renegotiate, to continue to negotiate, if we're dealing with specific elements of this, and strategically, that's the whole purpose of it under attorney-client privilege, if we're discussing things that you don't necessarily want to go that, well, we wouldn't pay this, but we would pay this, well, you've just basically put yourself in a position where the contractor knows exactly what you're willing to do, and that's somewhat of a disadvantage when you're negotiating. So for that purpose, yeah, we're okay. I just, I need to make sure we meet the standard in order to do it.
I just see some things written down that I'd like to question.
Okay, well, I think that probably falls into that category.
So where do we want to start with that first, contract negotiations?
Probably so. That's gonna be the one with attorney-client privileges.
Yeah.
Your purposes for continuing contract negotiations.
Okay. How long do you think? Probably 10 minutes or 15?
We can shoot for 10.
Okay.
See if we can keep you on time.
Okay. I would move that we recess into executive session or discuss contract negotiations pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for attorney-client privilege for contract negotiations with the board, Brad, Tina, and for 10 minutes.
And you want Travis?
And Travis, yes. Yeah, we better have Travis here too. Yeah. I'll write him down. Yeah, for 10 minutes, that'd be from 1:47 to 1:57. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Who's that? Jonah. All those in favor of
Missed him
that,
up.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. 5-0.
Meetings, I'm gonna cut you off.
We're gonna have another one, Lloyd.
No problem.
This conference will now be recorded.
We're gonna go one more time, Lloyd, don't sit down. We're gonna go one more time for 10 minutes.
Oh, door open, I thought it was open.
Well, wait.
Sorry,
It is.
sorry.
It is. We just didn't want you to walk all the way back in.
I move we recess in executive session in order to discuss contract negotiations.
You have to come back out first,
Oh.
announce no action, and
Yep.
do it again.
Okay, are we on?
Travis, can you open the door, please?
Oh,
Yes,
yep.
we're on.
All right, out of executive session, no decisions. We're gonna go back in for another 10 minutes for the same purpose that we went in the first time and continue contract negotiations. I move that we recess in executive sessions in order to discuss contract negotiations pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for consultation with an attorney, matters of attorney-client privileges, for contract negotiations with the board, Brad, Tina, and Travis, for 10 minutes. That will be from 2 o'clock till 2:10.
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Okay, back at 10.
Next one's 10.
Okay.
Yep.
Come out with no decisions and then go back for another 2.
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive session, we have no decisions.
I'm all for it.
We'll end that, and we'll have one more executive sessions for contract negotiations,
That's right.
and we'll
Well, and then I'm ready to go in and see that guy.
thought I was done. I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss contract negotiations pursuant to KSA 75-431-9B for consultation with our attorney, for attorney-client privilege for contract negotiations for a matter of 10 minutes with the board, Brad, Tina, and Travis. That is my motion.
Second.
Second by Kent. Jonah, turn your face. I couldn't see.
My ventriloquist is working well.
Okay, that will be from 2:13 to 2:26. Or, no, 2:13 to 2:33, right? No, 2:23. 2:23, 2:13 to 2:23. My addition.
And the person who seconded was?
Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
Executive meeting. A little bit. Oh.
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive sessions, no decisions, but we will turn the matter over to our attorney, and he will research the negotiations some more with this and bring it back to us for a decision.
With that, I have nothing further unless any of the commissioners have questions for me.
Thanks. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Commission, we may go into another one after this for personnel hiring. Is it all right with the commission to go ahead with public comments? Yes. Is it okay? Okay. Anybody have any problems with that? Yeah, move it up so we can get to the public comments.
Nope. Got a guy that's been sitting here all
Yeah,
day.
that's what I'm getting.
Having to wait in between executive sessions.
Lloyd, we're moving up public comments, so go ahead and you can
I
either.
just got two questions I'd like to be answered.
Okay.
For you, Mr. Dawkins, for Mr. Crowfoot. Approximately 6 weeks ago, that wind company out there at Tampa, they owed the county roughly $475,000. And you stated it was in the mail. That was 6 weeks ago. When are the county gonna receive it?
Okay. And I'm gonna refer that this man right here is the one that told us it was in the mail.
Yeah, we negotiated and put together, this was all part of the road maintenance agreement to get that all cleaned up and finished, and they really
Right.
didn't want to necessarily do everything that our consulting engineers, how do I say that? They didn't ever refuse to do it, but they preferred to not have to marshal or hire independent contractors to do it. So they ultimately made multiple offers to us over time, and I can say that, to try to resolve that for just cash. At this point, they finally ultimately acquiesced some time ago and said, we'll just go ahead and pay whatever that amount is that your consultant came up with. Then they were going to do their version of a settlement agreement, and I was going to do mine. Ultimately, I ended up doing one. They've reviewed it. We're down to the point where they had a few changes that we got about a week and a half ago, some red lines, and they're not really unreasonable red lines. There are a couple of them that I've omitted and sent back to them, and they are on it. I will say that much in their defense, because I got an email on Sunday from Pimer asking, okay, anything else? And I said, nope, those are the ones, I've adjusted it with everything that you wanted except for the ones we don't agree to. And those I have not made the adjustments on, and it's sitting in their hands. I do believe he will try to get that back to me fairly quickly. He didn't have it by this morning, but.
You answered part of my question, Mr. Dawkins, when asked. You said approximately 6 weeks ago it was in the mail.
Yeah.
You
and
made
that's-
that statement.
Yes, and that's
We're
what,
waiting on it.
that's what we thought at that time, until he made some more
Don't make
adjustments.
a statement if you can't stand behind it. That's my point.
Okay. Good
Next
enough.
question is from Mr. Crowfoot. The dog out, fishing dog, why did we pay him, the county as taxpayers, paid him roughly $80,000 to $100,000 and we got nothing? What are we gonna do about that?
We're working on that. Oh,
How long are you gonna work on it? It's been right at 2 years. How long are we gonna work on this?
We've got a plan, I think in the next,
We've had a plan for 2 years, but nothing's been enforced.
we're gonna have a solid contract for the next 60 days.
When are we gonna go after him? For the money we paid advance, we got nothing.
We've tried and there's nothing there.
Why'd we give it to him in the first place?
That was advanced.
Did you buy a car and pay for it ahead of time and don't get a
I
car?
was advanced to buy product, buy supplies.
I'm sorry, but I don't buy it that way.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm an old hard, but I don't do that. I get my product and pay for it. I do not pay in advance for it.
we
That-
took the guy
When
his
y'all
word.
gonna learn,
We
you
had a
don't do
contract.
that.
Well, we didn't learn. We're not doing that
It
anymore.
took you long, took you long enough to learn it.
Yeah,
And that's a roughly $100,000 for the taxpayers. We got nothing.
we got some project out of it, some material.
Some of the projects.
What, we
right
get the
out there.
frame back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then you hired somebody to haul it from wherever he is back here at the county lake. Why didn't we haul it with a county truck?
Because the county was busy doing roads, they didn't have the correct
You mean to
equipment.
tell me they can haul excavators and backhoes on these trailers and we can't haul this?
Yes,
That's what you're telling me?
yes, we didn't have, county did not have permits for wide roads.
Ain't hard to get a permit,
It costs money,
huh?
costs money.
Yeah, $10.
Okay.
And we can't afford $10, but we give $100,000 away.
That's the end of comments. Thank you, Lloyd. You made your point. You've asked the questions.
No, I didn't get no answers. I got questions, but I didn't get the answers.
Okay.
It just ain't right, people, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I am a taxpayer and there's other people out there, they're upset about that fishing dock real bad.
We are too,
Yeah. Let's do something.
we are.
Don't sit there with your hands underneath your butt.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, but I will give you a lot of comments, the whole smear. Our roads are looking better, thank you.
Thank you. 'Cause that's-
I live
that's
on
gonna be
190th, but it's 100% better than it was. I had 500 check holes in a mile. I don't have that today, and I appreciate that. I thank you very much.
We'll tell Bryce here.
He's doing a good job on that. I have to compliment him. I give him credit. But when you ain't getting credit, you ain't gonna get it. That's just the way I operate. And I'm upset more about these two things. That's over $500,000. Look what that do with our taxes. I just don't understand it.
They can tell us they're gonna pay us, Lloyd, on the wind farm deal, and then if they're gonna send it when they get done, I guess. That's what I'm saying.
We got lawyers.
It's kinda like, I don't care what you charge, just keep charging it.
I don't care to charge it. We want
You
the
go
payment.
someplace, I charge so much, I don't care what you charge, just keep charging it, that's all right.
Yeah. Got too many lawyers involved.
You got that right, I agree with you.
It's been a long road, we want it done too.
What's that?
I said, it's been a long road and we want it done too.
Let's get it done. I'm tired of pussyfooting around, do it. You know, it's time.
Thank you, Lloyd. Appreciate it.
Thank you,
Yep.
Randy, thank you, Dave,
Yeah.
I appreciate it, everybody else, I thank you very much.
Yep.
That's all I have to say, thank you.
Thanks for waiting around.
Yeah. Sorry about making you wait.
You did have a public comment on the chat before we went into executive session.
Okay.
And the person who commented did provide their name, address, and phone number. And this is from Byron Lang, and it just says, with regard to the motion not to accept anonymous comments made to the commission, I concur with the motion that was made by Commissioner Mueller. It might be amended to require the submitter to, 1, be a U.S. citizen, and 2, be alive.
He's got his address and everything up there, so thank you,
Well,
Mr. Lang.
We don't need to turn that loose, it just needs to be
It needs to
prequel
be.
to be put up.
Right.
Okay, so we're into appraiser. Nikki?
Did you want to go into an session with just the board first to,
Yeah.
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 Hold on.
Sorry. Yeah, we are. We're gonna start with you, probably Carl, in executive session, and then move to Nikki. Board first.
Don't run off.
And Tina.
No, I was just gonna say that you probably want to do just a short one with the
board.
with the
Yeah.
board.
And then we'll go to Carl, and then go to Nikki.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Door shut? Yes, thank you.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll get more paper. Time for executive session.
Have to put those in a notebook.
Yeah.
3 reminder.
I move that we recess into executive sessions in order to discuss personnel hiring, personnel performance pursuant to KSA and Tina for the first one for, I'm gonna say 10 minutes. Was that too long, I think, or 5 minutes, Tina?
Looks like Carl.
No, not that.
I think that you, 5 minutes might be enough, but
Yeah,
it just
if you didn't do it that way.
depends on what, it really depends on whether the board has things
Any
that they.
questions? Yeah. Okay. I'll make it 10 minutes from 2:32 to 2:42. So second. Second by Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
This conference will now be recorded.
We don't know.
Out of executive sessions, no decisions. I will move to recess in executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for personnel matters of non-elected personnel for hiring and because it's contracts coming up.
Contract negotiation.
Contract negotiations with the board, Brad and Tina. You will
Should be in and out. It should be in here.
should be in and out of the meeting.
And do you want Carl?
Yeah, with Carl.
I don't know.
For 10 minutes. That'll be from 2:45 to 2:55.
Second.
Second by Kent. All those in favor say aye.
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 10 minutes, probably again? Is
Yeah,
that
we
what you
can.
need?
Yeah, we can.
Please leave the door open.
That's all right.
Can you open
No,
it?
open it.
Yeah,
Open
open
it
it.
up.
Okay.
It's gotta be open during,
Nobody else is.
Just need it. There you go.
Okay.
we should have a minute here.
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive sessions, no decisions. We're gonna go back into another executive session with Nikki Reed for employment. I move to recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel performance and pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for personnel matters of non-elected personnel for contract negotiations with the board, Nikki, Brad, and Tina for a period of 10 minutes. That will be from 3:57 till, no, 2:57 to
2:57 to
3:07. There we
There you go.
Yeah, not quite that. So, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second with Jonah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 5-0.
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive sessions, no decisions at this time. I will put on for the June 28th meeting at 12:30 to have an appraisers conference at 12:30 on the 28th, the very first thing of the meeting. And you can come back up then, and we hope to appoint somebody on the 28th. And if everybody accepts things. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Now I got five, I guess.
Yeah. Any other business? Tina?
Yes.
Oh,
As a matter of fact.
We have that, I had requested
Yes.
during admin time to have an executive session for FMLA leave.
how, 10?
I probably need 10 minutes, yes.
Okay. Is that personnel?
Yes.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B for personnel matters of non-elected personnel. Any particular, is that it?
Well, you need to,
FMLA
instead of
purpose,
performance,
for
you're gonna-
performance for personnel, or FMLE. With the board, Tina and Brad. That's it. For 10 minutes from 3:11 to 3:21.
Second.
Second by Jonah. Kent, I thought Kent beat you. Kent Becker got the second. All those in favor say aye.
I gotta say it fast.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Everybody aye? Yep. 5-0.
All right, back at 3:21.
Sorry about.
This conference will now be recorded.
Out of executive session, make a motion to approve for a qualified employee intermittent FML leave. Also with that motion will be to deny a shared leave request by the same employee. That's my motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jonah. All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do I hear opposed? Same sign? Don't hear any. 5-0.
Okay. That was all I had.
Okay. Yeah, commission comments is the last thing, unless Brad has something to.
Not that we haven't already covered today. I'd hate to make Phyllis go out again.
Commission comments, any commission comments?
9 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yes, tomorrow morning, budget
Budget.
workshop, 9 o'clock with Scott Lloyd and his staff.
That's probably all there.
Maybe.
If I hear no commission comments, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Jonah, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. I'm not gonna make it to news before.
You might.
Yeah, you can. That's doable. Depends on where.
Day in the hall.
If you're